Good morning to everybody, to all the participants and all the well-wishers of our international marathon, online marathon, which is dedicated to studies and reading of the Holy Scriptures for the well-being of the whole world. We study all Scriptures translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. For the well-being, he did this translation of the whole world. This way we fulfill our duties towards our relatives, friends, and fulfilling duties means engaging our nature, because human nature is dedicated to discover how much it is impossible this spiritual knowledge, and discover this notion of God and His actual greatness and presence in this world, and also our relationship with Him. And also at the very beginning we need to accept that we are not these bodies, and we're not inhabitants of this world. We are spiritual beings full of bliss and knowledge. We are eternal, and if you engage our nature, our intelligence, we will feel this. I mean, this mood of eternity, that the knowledge that we possess, some knowledge of that we cannot fully discover inside. So this knowledge awakens us from the sleep. It is actually advised to do for everybody, but I guess not everybody is as lucky as we are. So we are here to do this work for everybody, and we will share as much as we can with the other people. So now we continue Srimad Bhagavad-Gita reading, and it's 16th chapter. We still have 3 chapters left. Maybe we will finish today. So let's read prayers.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Шримад Бхагавад-гита, как она есть.
Srimad Bhagavad-Gita As It Is, chapter 16.
Божественные и демонические натуры.
The divine and demoniac natures.
Тексты с 1 по 3.
From chapter text from 1 to 3.
Abhayam sattva samshudhir jnana yoga vyavasthitihi danam damascha yagyascha svadhyayastapa arjavam ahimsa satyam akradas tyagas shantir apaishunam daya bhuteshvaloluptvam Mardvam Hrir Achap Mardavam Hrir Achapalam Tijaksha Madri Tikshaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijitasya Bharata.
The Supreme Personality of God had said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion of fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly man endowed with divine nature, propped by his divine grace. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In the beginning of 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter, also the devas or godly and the asuras, the ungodly or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress of the path of liberation, and such activities are known as Daivi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In this 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, and the demoniac nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and the disadvantages of these qualities. The word abhijatasya, in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies, is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadana Samskara. If the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles recommended for the social life of the human being. In Bhagavad-Gita, we have studied also before that sex life for begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned, provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so that they may become Krishna conscious after birth. They should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. The social institution known as Varnashama Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions of social life and 4 occupational divisions of castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world. In the Varnashrama institution, the sannyasi or the person in the renounced order of life is considered to be the head of the spiritual master or of all the social statuses and orders. Brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the 3 other sections of society, namely the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, but sannyasi, who is on the top of the institution, is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmanas also. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness, because the sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one thinks, after I leave my connections, who will protect me, he should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone. one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called abhayam, fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Then he has to purify his existence. There are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was in a puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on the sannyasi not to have close connections with the women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For sannyasi, intimate relations with women and possessions of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be the most liberated incarnation of Godhead, except in the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyasi order of life in connection with association with women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with his other confidential personal associates, but somehow or rather, this Chota Haridas looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, "For a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate it himself to the spiritual nature and go back home, back to Godhead, for him, looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a propensity, is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires." So these are the processes for purification. The next item is Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti, being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life or spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood. But this does not mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person, and out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samsuddhi, purity, and jnana yoga, knowledge.
Человек, отрекшийся от мира, должен обладать бесстрашием.
The next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. The householders should earn a livelihood by an honorable means, and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to the right receiver. There are different kinds of charity, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, patience, and ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is recommended by the scriptures, but charity in the modes of passion and ignorance is not recommended because it is simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness. Then, as far as Dhamma, self-control, is concerned, it is not only meant for for other orders of religious society, but especially meant for the householder. Although he has a wife, a householder should not use his sense for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders even in sex life. Such should only be engaged in over propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods or more abominable methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality, but is demoniac. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget a child without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children, but without his capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. Sacrifice is another item to be performed by the householders, because sacrifices require a large amount of money. Those in other orders of life, namely brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyasa, have no money. They live by begging. So performance of different types of sacrifices meant for the householders. They should perform Agnihotra sacrifice as enjoined in the Vedic literature. But such sacrifices at the present money are very expensive, and it is not possible for any householders to perform them. The best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtana Yagya. This Sankirtana Yagya, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is the best and the most expensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifice, are meant for the householder. The Svadhyaya, Vedic study, is meant for brahmacharya or student life. Brahmacharis should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Svadhyaya. Tapas or austerity is especially meant for the retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. He must always remember that there are four divisions of life: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So after grihastha, household life, one should retire. If one lives for 100 years, he should spend 25 years in student life, 25 in householder life, 25 in retired life, and 25 in the renounced order of life. These are the regulations of the Vedic religious discipline. A man retired from household life must practice austerities of the body, mind, and tongue. That is tapasya. The entire Varnasrama Dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need of austerity in life, that one can go on speculating and everything will be nice, is recommended neither in the Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad-Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show-bottle spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules, and regulations, people will not become attracted. Therefore, those who want followers in the name of religion, just to have a show only, don't restrict the lives of their students, nor their own lives, but that method is not approved by Vedas. As far as the Brahmanical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member. He is in the Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, or Sannyasa ashram. One should be very simple and straightforward. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. One should not think that since the spirit spark is never killed, even after the killing of the body, there is no harm in killing animals for sense gratification. People are now addicted to eating animals in spite of having an ample supply of grains, fruits, and milk. There is no necessity for animal killing. This injunction is for everyone. When there is no alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. At any rate, when there is an ample food supply for humanity, persons who are desiring to make advancement in spiritual realization should not commit violence to animals. Real ahimsa means not taking anyone's progressive life. The animals are also making progress in their evolutionary life by transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then his progress is checked. If animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and is untimely killed, then he has to come back again in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So their progress should not be checked simply by satisfying one's palate. This is called ahimsa. Satyam, this word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning of the purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. That is the process for understanding the Vedas. Shruti means that one should hear from the authority. One should not construe some interpretation for his personal interest. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita that misinterpret the original text. The real import of the word should be presented, and that should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. Akrodha means to check anger. Even if there is provocating, one should be tolerant. For once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Anger is a product of the mode of passion and lust. So one who is transcendentally situated should check himself from anger. Apaishuna means that one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. Of course, to call a thief is not fault-finding, but to call an honest person a thief is very much offensive for one who is making advancement in spiritual life. Hri means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable. Achapalam, determination, means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination. The word tejas used here is meant for the kshatriyas. The kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it. But a person who is able to curb down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. He may excuse minor offenses. Shaucham means cleanliness, not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. Nati manita, not expecting honor, applies to the Shudras, the worker class, which are considered, according to Vedic injunctions, to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is the duty of the Shudras to offer respect to the higher class for the upkeep to the social order. All these 26 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different status of social and occupational order. The purport is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. Text 4. Dambho darpo bhimanascha krodha parushyam evacha ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadam asurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, or son of Pritha. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. They are always arrogant and proud in possessing some type of education or such wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies and wombs, in the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata ma sucha sampadam daivim abhijato si pandava. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. Purport of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demoniac qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demoniac, because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Therefore, he was not of the quality of the demons. For a Kshatriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. Therefore, there was no case for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated. Text number 6. Dvaubhuta sargau loke smin daiva sura evacha daivo vistarasha prokta asuram partha me shrinu. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called the divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at the length of the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna, having assured Arjuna that he was born with the divine qualities, is now describing the demoniac way. The conditioned living entities are divided into two classes in this world. Those who are born with divine qualities follow a regulated life. That is to say, they abide by the injunctions of scriptures and by the authorities. One should perform duties in the light of authoritative scripture. This mentality is called divine. One who does not follow the regulative principles as they are laid down in the scriptures and who acts according to his whims is called demoniac or asuric. There is no other criterion but obedience to the regulative principles of scriptures. It is mentioned in Vedic literature that both the demigods and the demons are born of the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and the other does not. Text number 7. Pravritim cha nivritim cha janana navidur asura na saucham napi cha charu na satyam teshu vidyate. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In every civilized human society, there is some set of scriptural rules and regulation which is followed from the beginning, especially among the Aryas, those who adopt the Vedic civilizations and who are known as the most advanced civilized peoples. Those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions are supposed to be demons. Therefore, it is stated here that the demons do not know the scriptural rules, nor do they have any inclination to follow them. Most of them do not know them, and even if some of them know, they have not the tendency to follow them. They have no faith, nor are they willing to act in terms of Vedic injunctions. The demons are not clean, either externally or internally. One should always be careful to keep his body clean by bathing, brushing teeth, shaving, changing clothes, etc. As far as internal cleanliness is concerned, one should always remember the holy names of God and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The demons neither like nor follow all these rules for external and internal cleanliness. As for behavior, there are many rules and regulations guiding human behavior, such as Manu Samhita, which is the law law of human race. Even up to today, those who are Hindu follow the Manu Samhita. Laws of inheritance and other legalities are derived from these books. Now, in the Manu Samhita, it is clearly stated that a woman should not be given freedom. That does not mean that women are to be kept as slaves, but they are like children. Children are not given freedom, but that does not mean that they are kept as slaves. The demons have no neglected such injunctions, and they think that women should be given as much freedom as men. However, this has not improved the social condition of the world. Actually, a woman should be given protection at every stage of life. She should be given protection by the father in her younger days, by the husband in her youth, and by the grown-up sons in her old age. This is a proper social behavior according to the Manu Samhita. But modern education has artificially devised a puffed-up concept of a womanly life. And therefore, marriage is practically now an imagination in human society. Nor is the moral condition of woman very good now. The demons, therefore, do not accept any instruction which is good for society, and because they do not follow the experience of great sages and the rules and regulations laid down by the sages, the social condition of the demoniac people is very miserable.
Демоны довели человеческое общество до такого жалкого состояния, в котором оно находится сейчас.
Text number 8. Asatyam parata apratishtamte jagad ahur anishvaram aparaspara sambhutam kim anyam kama haitukam. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demoniac conclude that the world is phantasmagoria. There is no cause or an effect, no controller, no purpose. Everything is unreal. They say that this cosmic manifestation arises due to the chance material actions and reactions. They do not think that the world was created by God for a certain purpose. They have their own theory that the world has become about in its own way, and that there is no reason to believe that there is a God behind it. For them, there is no difference between spirit and matter, and they do not accept this supreme spirit. Everything is matter only, and the whole cosmos is supposed to be mass of ignorance. According to them, everything is void, and whatever manifestation exists is due to our ignorance in perception. They take it for granted that all manifestation of diversity is the display of ignorance. Just as in a dream we may create so many things which actually have no existence, so when we are awake we shall see that everything is simply a dream. But factually, although the demons say that life is a dream, they are very expert in enjoying this dream. And so, instead of acquiring knowledge, they become more and more implicated in their dreamland. They conclude that as a child is simply the result of sexual intercourse between man and woman, this world is born without any soul. For them, it is only a combination of matter that has produced the living entities. And there is no question of the existence of the soul. As many living creatures come out from perspiration and from a dead body without any cause, the whole living world has come out of the material combinations of cosmic manifestation.
Мироздание подобно тому, как в капельках пота или трупах без всякой на то причины заводятся живые существа.
Therefore, material nature is the cause of this manifestation, and there is no other cause. They do not believe in the words of Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita, Mayad yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Under my direction, the whole material world is moving. In other words, among the demons, there is no perfect knowledge of the creation of the world. Every one of them has some particular theory of his own. According to them, one interpretation of the scriptures is good as another, for they do not believe in a standard understanding of the scriptural injunctions. Text number 9. Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmano ulpa budhaya prabhavanchyoga karmana kshayaya jagato hita. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have intelligence engaged in unbeneficial, unhonorable works meant to destroy the world. Purport of Bhagavad Prabhupada. The demoniac are engaged in activities that will lead the world to destruction. The Lord states here that they are less intelligent. The materialists who have no concept of God think that they are advancing, but according to Bhagavad-Gita, they are intelligent. They are intelligent and devoid of all sense. They try to enjoy this material world to the utmost limit and therefore always engage in inventing something for sense gratification. Such materialistic inventions are considered to be advancement of human civilization, but the result is that people grow more and more violent and more cruel to animals and cruel to other human beings. They have no idea how to behave towards one another. Animal killing is very prominent amongst demoniac people. Such people are considered the enemies of the world because ultimately they will invent or create something which will bring destruction to all. Indirectly, this verse anticipates the invention of nuclear weapons, of which the whole world is today very proud. At any moment, war may take place, and these atomic weapons may create havoc. Such things are created solely for the destruction of the world, and this is indicated here. Due to godlessness, such weapons are invented in human society. They are not meant for the peace and prosperity of the world. Text number 9. Kamamashritya dushpuram dambha madamvita mahadgrihitva sadgrahan pravartante suchi vradaha. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the concept of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work attracted by the impermanent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demoniac mentality is described here. The demons have no satiation for their lust. They will go on increasing their insatiable desires for material enjoyment, although they are always full of anxieties on account of accepting non-permanent things. They still continue to engage in such activities out of illusion. They have no knowledge and cannot tell that they are heading the wrong way. accepting non-permanent things. Such demoniac people create their own God, creating their own hymns and chant accordingly. The result is that they become more and more attracted to two things: sex enjoyment and accumulating of material wealth. The word Ashuchi Vrata, unclean vows, is very significant in this connection. Such demoniac people are all attracted by wine, women, gambling, and meat eating. These are their ashuchi, unclean habits, induced by pride and false prestige. They create some principles of religion which are not approved by the Vedic injunctions. Although such demoniac people are most abominable in the world, by artificial means the world creates a false honor for them. Although they are guiding towards hell, they consider themselves very much advanced. Text number 11 and 12. Chintama parimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kamopabhoga parama etavad iti nishchita ashapashasashtar badha kama krodha prayana ihante kama bhogartham anyayenartha sanchayan. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of the human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable, bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires, and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demoniac accept that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life, and this concept they maintain until death. They do not believe in the life after death, and they do not believe that one takes on different types of bodies according to one's karma or activities in this world. Their plans for life are never finished, and they go on preparing plan after plan, all of which are never finished. We have personal experience of a person of such demoniac mentality who, even at the point of death, was requesting the physician to prolong his life for 4 years more because his plans were not yet complete. Such foolish people do not know that physician cannot prolong life even for a moment. When the notice is there is no consideration of the man's desire. The laws of nature do not allow a person beyond what one is destined to enjoy. The demoniac person who has no faith in God or super soul within himself performs all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. He does not know that there is a witness sitting within his heart. The super soul is observing the activities of the individual soul. As it is stated in Upanishad, there are two birds sitting in one tree. One is acting as and enjoying or suffering the fruit of branches, and the other is witnessing. But one who is demoniac, who has no knowledge of Vedic scripture, nor has he any faith, therefore he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of the consequences. Text from 13 till 15. Ida madhyamaya labdham imam prapsye manoratam idam astidam apime dhavisha puti punardhanam asaumaya hatam satru hanishecha param api ishvaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi adhyo bhijanavan asmi konyosti sadrisho maya yakshe dasyami modisha iti jnana
Jnana
vimohitaha.
vimohitaha.
The demoniac
Сегодня
person thinks,
думает демонический
so
человек, я
much
получу
wealth do I
хорошую
have
прибыль,
today, and I will
когда же мои
gain more
планы
according to my
осуществятся,
schemes.
я получу еще больше.
So much is mine
Сейчас я
now,
владею
and
неплохим
it will
состоянием,
increase
и
in the
оно будет
future more
только
and more.
расти.
He is
Этого
my
моего
enemy,
врага я
and I
убью,
have killed him,
и
and
та же
my
участь
other
ожидает
enemies will also
остальных.
be killed.
Я
And
хозяин
I am the
всего,
Lord of
я
everything. I
наслаждаюсь
am the
жизнью,
enjoyer. I am
я достиг
perfect, powerful, and
совершенства, обрел
happy. I am
могущество
the
и
richest
счастье.
man,
Я
surrounded by
богаче всех,
aristocratic
и меня
relatives.
окружают знатные родственники.
There is
В
none
мире
so
нет никого
powerful and happy
могущественнее и
as I am.
счастливее меня.
I shall
Я
perform
буду совершать
sacrifices, I shall
жертвоприношения,
give some charity,
заниматься
and thus I
только
shall rejoice.
благотворительностью и
In this way,
радоваться жизни.
such persons are deluded
Так
by
эти люди
ignorance.
становятся жертвами собственного невежества.
Text number 16.
16.
Aneka
Анека
chitta
читта
vibhranta
вибранта
moha jala
мохаджала
samavritaha
самавритаха
prasakta
прасакта
kama
кама
bhogeshu
бхогишу
patanti
патанти
narakeshu chau.
нараке шучау.
Thus perplexed by
Охваченные
various
беспокойством от
anxieties
всех
and
этих
bound by a
мыслей
network of
и опутанные
illusions,
сетью
they become too strongly
заблуждений,
attached to
они
sense
чрезмерно
enjoyment
привязываются
and
к
fall down
чувственным
into hell.
удовольствиям и в конце концов попадают в
Purport by
ад.
Srila Prabhupada.
Комментарий Шрилы
The
Прабхупады.
demoniac man knows
Жажда
who
демонического
no limit
человека
to his desire to
наживить
acquire
не
money.
знает пределов.
That is
Она
unlimited.
неутолима.
He thinks
Он
only
думает
of
только
how
о
much
том, сколько у
assessment
него
he has
богатств
just
сейчас
now
и как
and
приумножить
schemes
их в
of
будущем.
engage that
Для
stock of
этого
wealth
он
further
готов
and further.
совершать любой грех и, стремясь
For that reason, he
к
does not
запретным
hesitate to act
наслаждениям,
in any sinful
занимается
way and
незаконными
so deals
махинациями,
in the black
гордясь
market
тем, что
for
у него
illegal
уже есть
gratification.
своей землей,
He is
семьей, домом и счетом в
enamored
банке.
by
Он все время
possessions
думает о
he has
том,
already,
как стать
such
еще
as land,
богаче.
family,
Он верит
house,
только
and bank
в
balance,
собственные силы
and
и
he
не
is
знает,
always planning to
что все
improve
его
them.
богатства
He believes
пришли
in
к
his
нему
own
в
strength,
результате его
and he
прошлых
does not know
благочестивых
that
поступков.
whatever he
Он
is
получил
gaining is
возможность
due to
обрести эти
his past
богатства,
good deeds,
но ему
and he is
ничего не
given an
известно
opportunity
о
to
причинах
accumulate
этого,
such things, but he has
связанных
no
с его
conception of
прошлым.
past causes.
Он
He
думает,
simply
что
thinks that
богатство пришло к нему
all his
благодаря его
mass of
усилиям.
wealth is due to his
Демон
own
верит
endeavor.
только в собственные
And
силы,
demoniac
а не в
person
закон
believes in the
кармы,
strength of
в
his
соответствии с
personal work,
которым
not in the law of
знатное
karma.
происхождение,
According to the law of
богатство,
karma, a man
хорошее
takes his
образование
birth
или
in a high
красота
family or
являются
becomes rich
результатом
or
наших
very
прошлых
well
благочестивых
educated or
поступков.
very beautiful because of good work in
Демоны
the past.
считают,
The
что
demonic
обязаны
think that
этим
all these
своей
things
удачей
are
и
accidental
способностям.
and due to the
Они не
strength
чувствуют, что
of
за
one's
всем
personal ability.
многообразием в
They
общественном
do not sense
положении,
any arrangement behind
внешности
all the
и
varieties of people,
образовании
beauty and
людей стоит
education.
промысел
Anyone
Бога.
who comes into
Всякий, кто осмеливается
competition
соперничать
with
с
such a
такими
demoniac
людьми,
man is his enemy.
становится их врагом.
There are many
На свете
demoniac
много
people, and
демонических
each
людей,
is enemy to the
и все
others.
они
This
враждуют между собой.
enmity becomes more and more
Эта
deep
вражда
between
постоянно расширяется
persons,
и
then between
углубляется,
families,
переходя в рамки
then between
личных
societies,
за рамки
and
личных
last
отношений
between
и
nations.
перекладываясь на семьи,
Therefore,
кланы
there is a
и целые
constant
народы.
strife,
Поэтому повсюду в мире не
war, and
утихает
enmity
вражда,
all over the world.
соперничество и войны.
Each demoniac
Каждый
person
демонический
thinks
человек
that he
считает,
can live
что ради
at the
себя он может
sacrifice of all
пожертвовать
others.
всеми
Generally, demoniac
остальными.
person thinks of
Как правило,
himself as the
все демоны
supreme God,
считают себя
and
Богом.
the demoniac
Поэтому,
preacher
когда
tells
бедный
his
становится
followers,
проповедником,
"Why are you
он
seeking God
рождается в
elsewhere?
последователя.
You are
Зачем вам
all
верить так в
yourselves
Бога?
God. Whatever you
Каждый из вас
like, you
сам
can do.
Бог.
Don't believe in
Можете делать
God.
все, что
Throw away
хотите.
God.
Не
God is
верьте в
dead."
Бога.
These
Выбросьте
are the
Бога.
demoniac's preachings.
Бог мертв.
Although the
Так
demoniac
проповедуют демоны.
person sees
Хотя
others
демонам известно о
equally rich
существовании
and
людей,
influential,
столь же
or even more
богатых
so,
и влиятельных, как
he
они,
thinks that
тем не менее
no
каждый из
one
них
is richer
считает
than
себя
he
самым
and that
богатым
no one
и
is more
самым могущественным
influential than he.
человеком на свете.
As far as
Что
the
касается
promotion to
бывших
the higher
владыческих
planetary
планет,
system is
то демоны
concerned,
не считают нужным совершать для
he
этого
does not
яги,
believe in performing
жертвоприношения.
yagyas or
Они думают,
sacrifices.
что
Demons
можно изобрести
think
свою
that
яги
they will
или создать
manufacture their
механическое
own
устройство,
process of
которое
yagya and
позволит им
prepare
достичь
some machine
высших планет
by which
Вселенной.
they will be able
Лучшим
to reach
примером
any
тому
higher planet.
является
The best
Равана.
example of
Он
such a
объявил
demoniac
своим
man was
подданным
Ravana. He offered a
построить
program
лестницу,
to the
по которой
people
все
by which
смогут
he would
подняться
prepare
в
a
райское
staircase
царство,
so that anyone could reach the heavenly planets without performing sacrifices such as the prescribed in Vedas. Similarly, in the present age, such demoniac men are striving to reach the higher planetary system by mechanical arrangements. These are examples of bewilderment. The result is that, without their knowledge, they are gliding toward hell. Here, the Sanskrit word Mohajala is very significant. Jala means net, like fish caught in a net, they have no way to come out.
Они не могут выпутаться из сетей собственных заблуждений. Текст 17.
Text number 17. Atma samhavita stabdha dhanamanam madavitaha yajante namayagyaste dambhena vidhi purvakam. Self-complacement and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in a name only without following any rules or regulations. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thinking themselves all in all, not caring for any authority or scripture, the demoniacs sometimes perform so-called religious or sacrificial rites. And since they do not believe in authority, they are very impudent. This is due to illusion because by accumulating some wealth and false prestige, sometimes such demons take up the role of preacher, mislead the people, and become known as religious reformers or as incarnations of God. They make a show of performing sacrifices, or they worship the demigods, or manufacture their own god. Common men advertise them as God and worship them, and by the foolish they are considered advanced in the principles of religion or in the principles of spiritual knowledge. They take the dress of the renounced order of life and engage in all nonsense in that dress. Actually, there are so many restrictions for one who has renounced this world. The demons, however, do not care for such restrictions. They think that whatever path one can create is one's own path. There is no such thing as a standard path one has to follow. The word avidhi purvakam, meaning a disregard for the rules and regulations, is especially stressed here. These things are always due to ignorance and illusion. Text number 18. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha samshitaha mamatma paradeheshu pradvishanto bhyashuyakaha. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A demoniac person, being always against God's supremacy, does not like to believe in the scriptures. He is envious of both the scriptures and the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is caused by his so-called prestige and his accumulation of wealth and strength. He does not know that the present life is a preparation for the next life. Not knowing this, he is actually envious of his own self, as well as of others. He commits violence on other bodies and on his own. He does not care for the supreme control of the personality of Godhead, because he has no knowledge. Being envious of the scriptures and the supreme personality of Godhead, he puts forward false arguments against the existence of God and denies the scriptural authority. He thinks himself independent and powerful in every action. He thinks that since no one can equal him in strength, power, or wealth, he can act in any way and no one can stop him.
убежденный в
If he
этом
has
мире,
an enemy who might check the advancement of his
убежденный,
sensual
что в мире
activities,
нет
he makes
никого
plans
сильнее,
to cut
могущим и
him
богаче
down by
его,
his own
демон
power.
уверен, что может действовать, как ему заблагорассудится, и что никто не сможет его остановить. Если у него есть враг,
Text number
грозящий
19.
помешать его наслаждениям, он все
Tanaham
время думает о том, как
dvishataha kruram
расправиться с ним. Текст 19.
samsareshu
Танахам
naradhanam
двишата
manam
круран
kshipam
самасарешу
yajasram ashubham
самсарешу
asurishv eva
нарадханам
yonishu.
кшипам
Those who are
яджасрам
envious and
ашубхам
mischievous, who are
асуришу
the lowest
эва
among men,
йонишу.
I perfectually
Их,
cast
исполненных
into the
ненависти
ocean
и
of material
злонравных,
existence,
самых
into
низких
various
среди людей,
demoniac
я
species of
всегда
life.
низвергаю в океан
Purport by
материального
Srila Prabhupada.
существования в
In
разные
this verse,
демонические
it is
формы
clearly
жизни.
indicated that the placing
Комментарий Шрила
of a
Прабхупады.
particular
Здесь
individual
ясно
soul in a
сказано,
particular
что
body is the
индивидуальная душа
prerogative of the
попадает
supreme
в
will.
то или иное
The demoniac
материальное
person
тело
may
по воле
not
Всевышнего.
agree to accept the
Демонические
supremacy
существа
of the
могут
Lord, and it
отрицать
is a
великую
fact
власть
that
Господа
he may
и
act
действовать
according
по
to his
своему
own whims,
усмотрению.
but his
Однако их
next birth
следующая
will
жизнь
depend upon the
целиком и
decision of the
полностью
Supreme
зависит от
Personality
воли
of
Верховной
Godhead
Личности
and
Бога,
not on
а не от их
himself. In the
собственной.
Srimad
В
Bhagavatam,
третьей
third
песне
canto,
Шримад
it is stated that
Бхагаватам
the individual soul,
говорится,
after his
что
death,
после смерти
is put into
материального
the womb
тела
of a
индивидуальная
mother,
душа
where he
попадает в
gets a
чрево
particular
новой
type of
матери,
body under the
где получает
supervision
новое
of
тело,
superior power.
наделенное
Therefore,
ей свыше.
therefore, in the
В этом
material
причина
existence, we find so
разнообразия
many
форм
species of
и
life,
видов
animals,
жизни в
insects,
материальном
man,
мире,
and so on.
населенном
All are
животными,
arranged by the superior
насекомыми,
power.
людьми
They
и
are
так
not
далее.
accidental.
Все это
Accidental.
разнообразие
As for
возникло
the demonic,
не
it is clearly
случайно,
said that
а было
they are
создано волей Всевышнего.
perpetually put into the
Здесь
wombs
ясно сказано,
of demons,
что
and thus
демонов
they continue to
снова и
be
снова
envious,
помещают
the
в
lowest
утробы
of
демонических
mankind.
женщин,
Such demonic species
и
of
они
men are held to be always
остаются
full of
злобными,
lust,
самыми
always
презренными
violent
людьми.
and hateful,
Люди
and always
демонической
unclean.
породы
They,
постоянно
the many
обуреваемы
kinds
вожделением,
of
всегда
hunters
готовы
in the jungle
применить
are
насилие.
considered to
Они
belong to the
ненавидят
demoniac
других
species of
и
life.
имеют нечистые привычки. К числу демонических форм жизни
Text
относятся,
number
например,
20.
многочисленные племена
Asurim
охотников,
yonim
живущих
apana
в джунглях.
mudha janmani
Текст 20.
janmani mam aprapyaiva
Асурим йоним
kaunteya
апана
tato yantya
мудха
dhamma
джанмани
gatim.
джанмани мам
Attaining
апрапьяйва
repeated birth
каунтия
amongst the
тато
species of demoniac
янтя
life, O son of
дхамам
Kunti,
гатим.
such persons can never approach
Снова
me.
и снова
Gradually
рождаясь
they
среди
sink
демонов,
down to the most
о сын Кунти,
abominable type
такие
of
люди
existence.
не могут
Purport by
приблизиться
Srila
ко мне.
Prabhupada. It is known
Постепенно
that
они
God is all
опускаются в самые
merciful, but
отвратительные
here we
формы
find that
жизни.
God is never merciful to
Комментарий
to
Шрилы
the
Прабхупады.
demoniac. It is
Тот, кто
clearly
называет
stated that the
всемилостивым,
demoniac people,
однако
life
из
after
этого
life,
стиха мы
are put
узнаем,
into the
что он
wombs of
никогда
similar
не
demons
являет своей
and not
милости
achieving the
демоном.
mercy of the Supreme Lord.
Здесь ясно
They
сказано,
go down
что
and
демоны
down,
снова и
so
снова
that
попадают в
at
утробы
last they
демонических
achieve
женщин
bodies like
и,
those of cats
лишенные
and dogs
милости
and
Верховного
hogs.
Господа,
It is clearly
опускаются все
stated
ниже и ниже,
that such
пока в
demons have
конце
particularly
концов
no chance to
не
receive in the
оказываются
mercy
в
of,
телах
of God
кошек, собак и
at any
свиней.
stage of
Демоны
later life.
практически лишены
In the
возможности
Vedas
получить
also,
милость
it is
Господа
stated that
даже в
such
будущем.
persons gradually
В
sink to
Ведах
become dogs
говорится,
and hogs.
что деградируя,
It may
такие души со временем
be then
оказываются в
argued in
телах
this
собак и
connection
свиней.
that God should not be
Кто-то может
advertised
сказать,
as
что
all
если
merciful
Бог
if he
не
is not
оказывает
merciful
милости
to such
демонам,
demons.
то не
In answer
следует
to this
называть
question,
его
in Vedanta
всемилостивым.
Sutra, we find
В
that the
ответ
Supreme
на
Lord
это в
has no
Ведах
hatred for
Веданта
anyone.
Сутре
The
говорится,
placing of the
что
asuras
Верховный
to the
Господь
demons in the
никому
lowest
не
status of
испытывает
life is
ненависти.
simply another feature
То, что
of
Он
his mercy. Sometimes
помещает асуров,
the
демонов
asuras
в
are
низшие
killed by the
формы
Supreme
жизни,
Lord, but
тоже
this
проявление
killing
Его
is also
милости.
good for them. For one,
Иногда
in
Он
Vedic
сам
literature, we
убивает
find that
асуров,
anyone who is
но и
killed
это
by the
для них
Supreme Lord
благо,
becomes
ибо в
liberated.
Ведах сказано,
There are
что каждый,
instances
кто
in the
погибает от
histories
руки
of many
Всевышнего,
asuras.
получает
Ravana,
освобождение.
Kamsa,
В
Hiranyakashipu,
истории
to whom the
было
Lord
немало
appeared in
асуров,
various
Равана,
incarnations
Камса, Хираникашипу,
just to kill them. Therefore,
которых
God's mercy is
убил
shown
сам
to the
Господь,
asuras as they
приходивший
are
на землю в
fortunate enough
образе
to be killed
различных
by Him.
воплощений. Таким образом, асуры
Text number
тоже могут
21.
получить милость Господа,
Trividham
если им
narakashyadam
посчастливится
dvaram
погибнуть
nashanam
от его руки.
atmanaha
Текст
kama
21.
krodha tathalobhas
Тривидхам
tasmat etat
наракасьедам
trayam
дварам нашам
tyajet.
атманаха
There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The beginning of demoniac life is described herein. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arise. A sane man who does not want to glide down to the species of demoniac life must try to give up these three enemies, which can kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility to liberation from this material entanglement. Text number 22. Etar vimukta kaunteya tamo dvara istribhir naraha acharatyaatmana shriyas tato yati param gatim. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One should be very careful of these three enemies to human life: lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually raises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. In the Vedic literature, the ways of action and reactions are prescribed to enable one to come to the stage of purification. The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. This self-realization is perfected in devotional service. In the devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted for the four orders of life and the four statuses of life, called the caste system and the spiritual order system. There are different rules and regulations for different castes and divisions of society, and if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt. Text number 23. Ya shastra vidhimustri vartate kama karataha na sasidhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As described before, the Shastra Vidhi, or the direction of the Shastra, is given to the different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. In the human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. But even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. And even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempts are spoiled. his attempts are
И даже
spoiled.
если он
Therefore, one
признает
should
существование
gradually
Бога,
raise
но
himself
не
to the
служит
platform of
Ему,
Krishna
он лишь
consciousness and
напрасно
devotional
тратит
service.
время.
It is
Поэтому
then
человек
and there
постепенно должен развить в
that
себе
he
сознание
can
Кришны,
attain the highest
подняться на
perfection
уровень
stage,
преданного
not
служения.
otherwise.
Только
The
так
word
и
karma
никак иначе
karataha
он сможет
is very
достичь высшей
significant.
ступени
A person
совершенства.
who
Особое
knowingly
внимание
violates the
заслуживает
rules and
употребленное
acts
здесь
in
слово
lust, he
«кама
r-
каратага».
acts in lust.
Человек,
He knows that
сознательно
this is
нарушающий
forbidden,
правила и
but still he
предписания,
acts. This is called
движим
acting whimsically.
вожделением.
He
Зная о
knows that
запретах,
this
он тем не менее
should be done, but
нарушает их.
still he
Вот
does
что
not do
значит
it.
действовать
Therefore,
по
he is called
собственной прихоти.
whimsical. Such
Верховный
persons are
Господь
destined to be
неминуемо
condemned to,
покарает этих
by the
людей.
Supreme Lord.
Они
Such
лишены
persons cannot
возможности
have the
достичь
perfection
совершенства,
which is meant for
доступного
the human life.
человеку.
The human life is
Человеческая
especially
жизнь
meant for
предназначена
purifying
прежде всего для
one's
очищения,
existence, and
но
one who
тот,
does not
кто не
follow the
следует
rules and
предписаниям
regulations
шастр,
cannot purify
никогда
himself.
не сможет
Now can
очиститься,
he attain the
потеряв
real
скверну
stage of
и
happiness? Text
обрести
number 24.
истинное
Tasmakcha
счастье.
stram pramanamte
Текст
karyakarya
24.
vyavasthitau
Тасмачхастрам
gyatva shastra
прамананте
vidhanoktam
карья
karma kartum
карья
iharhasi.
вьяваситау
One
gyatva
should
shastra
therefore understand that
vidhanoktam
is what
karma
is duty
kartu
and what is not
miharhasi.
duty by the in regulations
Поэтому
of the
именно
scriptures.
на
Knowing
основе
such rules
священных
and
писаний
regulations, one should act
определи,
so that he may
что следует
gradually
делать,
be
а
elevated.
чего делать не следует. Изучив
Purport by
содержащиеся в
Srila
них
Prabhupada.
указания и правила,
As stated
действуй
in the
так,
15th
чтобы
chapter, all
постепенно
the rules and
достичь
regulations of the
духовных
Vedas are
высот.
meant for knowing Krishna.
Комментарий Шрилы
If one
Прабхупады.
understands Krishna from
Как было сказано в
Bhagavad-Gita and becomes
15 главе,
situated in Krishna
все
consciousness,
предписания вед
engaging
предназначены для
himself in
того,
devotional
чтобы
service,
помочь
he
человеку
has reached the highest perfection
постичь
of knowledge
Кришну.
offered by the
Если
Vedic literature.
человек,
Lord
изучив
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Бхагавад-гиту и
made
обретя
this
сознание
process
Кришны,
very easy.
начинает заниматься
He
преданным
asked
служением,
people simply
это
to
значит,
chant
что он обрел самое совершенное знание, которое можно получить из вед.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Господь
Krishna,
Чайтанья
Krishna
Махапрабху
Krishna, Hare Hare,
значительно облегчил
Hare
для нас
Rama,
этот
Hare
путь.
Rama, Rama
Он
Rama,
призвал
Hare
людей
Hare,
просто повторять
and to engage in the devotional
Харе
service
Кришна,
of the Lord
Кришна,
and eat the
Кришна,
remnants
Харе
of
Харе,
foodstuff
Харе
offered to
Рама,
the
Харе Рама,
deity.
Рама Рама,
One who
Харе
is
Харе.
directly engaged in
Служить
all these
Господу
devotional
и
activities is
питаться
to be
остатками
understood as
пищи,
having
которая была
studied all
предложена
Vedic
божествам.
literature. He has come
Говорится,
to the
что
conclusion
тот,
perfectly.
кто
Of
делает
course, of
это,
the ordinary
уже
person who
изучил
are
все
not in Krishna
ведические
consciousness
писания
or who are
и
not
понял их
engaged in
суть.
devotional service.
Разумеется,
What is to be done
обыкновенному
and what is
человеку,
not to be
не
done must be
обладающему
decided by
сознанием
the
Кришны
injunctions of the
или
Vedas.
занимающимся
One should act
преданным
accordingly without
служением,
argument.
нужно следовать
That is
указаниям
called
вед,
following the
чтобы понять,
principles of
что
Shastra or
можно делать, а
scriptures.
чего делать нельзя,
Shastra
и
is
выполнять эти
without the four
предписания нужно
principal
беспрекословно.
defects that
Следовать
are
указаниям
visible
шастр,
in the
священных
conditioned soul.
писаний, значит не
Imperfect
пытаться
senses,
оспаривать их.
the
Шастры
propensity for
свободны от
cheating,
4 недостатков,
certainty
присущих
of
обусловленным
committing
душам,
mistakes, and
которые
certainty of
обладают
being illusioned.
несовершенными чувствами, склонны к обману,
These four
неизбежно
principal
совершают
defects
ошибки
in
и
conditioned
находятся во
life
власти иллюзий.
disqualify one from
Эти
putting
4
forth
главных недостатка
rules and regulations.
лишают
Therefore, the
обусловленную душу
rules and regulations are
возможности
described in the
самой
Shastras,
устанавливать
being
правила
above in
жизни.
these effects,
Поэтому
are
все великие
accepted without
мудрецы,
alternation
ачарьи и великие
by all
души
great
неукоснительно
saints,
следуют
acharyas, and
предписаниям
great
шастр,
souls. In India,
свободных
there
от
are
этих
many
4
parties of
недостатков.
spiritual understanding,
В Индии
generally
есть много
classified
школ
as to the
духовной
impersonalist
философии,
and
которые можно разделить на
personalist.
две
Both of
большие
them,
группы:
however, lead their lives
последователи
according to the
имперсонализма
principles
и
of the Vedas.
персонализма.
Without following the
Однако и те, и
principles of the
другие
scriptures,
строят свою
one cannot
деятельность
elevate himself to the
на
perfectional
принципах
stage.
вед.
One who actually therefore understands the
Не
purport
следуя
of the
предписаниям
Shastras
шастр,
is considered
невозможно достичь
fortunate. In
совершенства.
human society,
Поэтому только
aversion
того,
to the
кто смог
principles of
постичь
understanding the
истинный
Supreme
смысл
Personality
священных
of
писаний,
Godhead is the
можно считать
cause of
удачливым
all
человеком.
fall downs.
Непринятие
That is the
принципов
greatest
лишает
offense of
основы
human life.
достижения верховной личности
Therefore,
Бога,
Maya, the material
является
energy of the
единственной
Supreme
причиной
Personality of Godhead,
деградации
is
людей.
always giving us trouble
Это
in
тягчайший
the
грех,
shape
на
of the
который способен
threefold
человек.
miseries.
Поэтому майя,
This
материальная
material
энергия,
energy is
постоянно
constituted
причиняет нам
of the three
страдания в
modes of
3 видах.
material nature. One has to
Материальная
raise himself
энергия
at least
состоит
to
из
the
3
mode
мод.
of goodness
Человек должен
before the path
подняться,
of to
по крайней
understanding the
мере,
Supreme
на
Lord can be
уровень гуны
opened.
благости,
Without raising
прежде
oneself to the
чем перед
standard
ним
of the mode of goodness,
откроется
one
путь к
remains in
постижению
ignorance
Верховного
and
Господа.
passion, which are the
Иначе он
cause of demoniac
останется
life.
во власти страсти
Those
и
in the
невежества,
modes of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy name, and deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. These are some of the defects of human society which lead to the demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master, who can lead one to the path of elevation to the highest stage, then one's life becomes successful. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, the matter of the divine and demoniac natures. So here's the chapter.
Вот такая глава.
Chapter 17. The divisions of faith. Text number 1. Arjuna Vacha Ye Shastra Vidhim Ustrijya Yajante Shradhayan Vitaha Tesham Nisthatuka Krishna Sattvam Ahorajastamaha. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principle of scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the 4th chapter, 39th verse, it is said that the person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfectional stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid down to this, in the scriptures is called an asura, demon, and one who follows the scriptural injunctions faithfully is called a deva, or demigod. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions, what is his position? This doubt of Arjuna's is to be created by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance? So such persons attain the perfectional stage of life. Do such persons attain the perfection stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional state? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods, and men attain success in their effort? Arjuna is putting these questions to Krishna. Text number 2. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Svabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chetitam Shrinu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence give up following these rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. According to their previous activities in the mode of goodness, patience, or ignorance, they acquire nature which is of a specific quality. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with material nature, he acquires different types of mentality according to his association with the material modes. But this nature can be changed if one associates with a bona fide spiritual master and abides by his rules and the scriptures. Gradually, one can change this position from ignorance to goodness, or from passion to goodness. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. Thus one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. Text number 3. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayo yam purusho yo yach chharadha saiva saha. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone has a particular type of faith, regardless of what he is. But his faith is considered good, passionate, or ignorant according to the nature he has acquired. Thus, according to his particular type of faith, one associates with certain persons. Now, the real fact is that every living being, as is stated in the 15th chapter, is originally a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one is originally transcendental to all the modes of material nature. But when one forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and comes into contact with the material nature in conditional life, he generates his own position by association with the different varieties of material nature. The resultant artificial faith and existence are only material, although one may be conducted by some impression or some conception of life. Originally, he is nirguna or transcendental. Therefore, one has to become cleansed of the material contamination that he has acquired in order to regain his relationship with the Supreme Lord. What is the only path back without fear? Krishna consciousness. If one is situated in Krishna consciousness, then that path is guaranteed for his elevation to the perfectional stage. If one does not take to this path of self-realization, then he is surely to be conducted by the influence of the modes of nature. The word Shraddha, or faith, is very significant in this verse. Shraddha, or faith, originally comes out of the mode of goodness. One's faith may be in a demigod or some created god or some mental concoction. One's strong faith is supposed to be productive of works of material goodness. But in material conditional life, no works are completely purified. They are mixed. They are not in pure goodness. Pure goodness is transcendental. In purified goodness, one can understand the real nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as one's faith is not completely in purified goodness, the faith is subject to contamination by any of the modes of material nature. The contaminated modes of material nature expand to the heart. Therefore, according to the position of the heart in contact with particular mode of material nature, Once faith is established, it should be understood that if one's heart is in the mode of goodness, faith is also in the mode of goodness. If his heart is in the mode of passion, his faith is also in the mode of passion. And if his heart is in the mode of darkness, illusion, faith, his faith is also thus contaminated. Thus we find different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of faith. The real principle of religious faith is situated in the mode of pure goodness. But because the heart is stained, we find different types of religious principles. Thus, according to different types of faith, there are different kinds of worship. Verse number 4. Yajante satvika devan yaksharaksham rajasaha pretan bhutaganam chanye yajante tamasajana. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of God describes different kinds of worshippers according to their external activities. According to scriptural injunction, only the Supreme Personality of God is worshipable. But those who are not very conversant with or faithful to the scriptural injunctions worship different objects according to their specific situations in the modes of material nature. Those who are situated in goodness generally worship the demigods. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, and the sun god. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during the Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler because, thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. Similarly, those in the modes of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God and that the same results will be obtained. Now it is clearly described that here that those who are in the mode of passion worship and create such gods, and those who are in the mode of ignorance in darkness worship dead spirits. Sometimes people worship at the tomb of the same dead man. Sexual service is also considered to be in the mode of darkness. Similarly, in remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghosts. We have seen that in India, the lower class people sometimes go to the forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in a tree, they worship that tree and offer sacrifices. These different kinds of worships are not actually God worship. God worship is for persons who are transcendentally situated in pure goodness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4.3.23, it is said, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. When a man is situated in a pure goodness, he worships Vasudeva. The purport is that those who are completely purified of the material modes of nature and who are transcendentally situated can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonalists are supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness, and they worship 5 kinds of demigods. They worship the impersonal Vishnu, form in the material world, which is known as philosophized Vishnu. Vishnu is the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, But the
Но так как
impersonalists, because
имперсоналисты
they
на
do
самом
not
деле не верят в
ultimately
духовную
believe
силу
in the
Бога,
Supreme
они
Personality of Godhead,
считают Вишну одним
imagine that the
из
Vishnu
аспектов
form is
безличного
just another
Брамана,
aspect of the
того, что
impersonal
Брахму
Brahman.
проявление безличного Брамана в
Similarly,
материальной
they
гуне
imagine
страсти.
that Lord Brahma is the
Поэтому иногда
impersonal form in the material
имперсоналисты
mode of
поклоняются
passion.
5
Thus,
богам,
they
не
sometimes
поскольку
describe
они
5 kinds of
думают,
gods
что
that are
высшим
worshipable, but
аспектом
because they think
абсолютной
that
истины
the
является
actual
безличный
truth is
Браман, в
impersonal
конечном
Brahman,
счете они
they dispose of all
отказываются от
the
поклонения
worshipable
кому бы то
objects
ни было.
at the ultimate end. In
В
conclusion,
заключение
the different
остается
qualities of
сказать,
material
что
modes of
очиститься от
nature can be
оскверняющего влияния
purified
гун
through
материальной
association
природы
with persons
можно только
who
благодаря
are of
общению с людьми,
transcendental nature.
находящимся вне сферы их действия.
Verses 5
Тексты
and
5 и
6.
6.
Ashastra
Ашастра
vihitam
вихитам
ghoram
горам
tapyante
тапьянте
ye
е
tapo janaha
таподжанаха
dambhahankara
дамбхаханкара
samyukta
самюкта
kamaraga
камарага
balam
баланвитаха
vitaha
каршаянта
karshayanta
шарирастхам
shararistham
бхутаграмам
bhutagramam
четасахам
echatasaha
мамчайвантах
mamchaivantaha
шарирастхам тан
sharirastham
видья
tan
сура
vido
нишчаян.
dhyashu sura nischayan.
Тех, кто совершает
Those
суровую
who
аскезу,
undergo
не
severe
рекомендованную
austerities
в священных
and
писаниях,
penances, not
делая это из
recommended in
гордости
the
или эгоизма,
scriptures, performing
тех,
them
кем
out of pride and
движет
egoism,
вожделение
who are
и привязанность,
impelled by
кто по
lust
глупости
and
истязает
attachment,
свое
who are
материальное
foolish
тело
and
и
who torture
находящихся
the
в нем
material
сверхдушу,
elements of the body as well
называют
as the
демонами.
super soul dwelling within, are to be known
Комментарий
as
Шрила Прабхупады.
demons. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Есть люди,
There are
которые
persons
совершают аскезу,
who
не
manufacture modes
рекомендованную в
of
священных
austerity
писаниях.
and penance which are
Например,
not mentioned in
Писание
the
не
scriptural
призывает
injunctions.
отказываться от
For
пищи
instance, fasting for
ради
some
достижения
ulterior
политических
purpose,
или других
such as to
внешних
promote a
целей.
purely political end,
Писание
is
рекомендует
not mentioned
поститься
in
во
the
имя духовного
scriptural
совершенствования,
directions.
а не для
The
достижения
scriptures recommend fasting for spiritual advancement,
политических
not
и
for
социальных
some
целей.
political or social
Soгласно
purpose.
Бхагавад-гите,
Persons who
те,
take to
кто
such
совершает
austerities are,
подобную
according to
аскезу,
Bhagavad-Gita,
относятся к
certainly
категории
demoniac.
демонических людей.
Their
Их
acts
действия
are
противоречат
against
предписаниям
the
шастры
scriptural
и
injunctions and are
никому
not
не
beneficial for the
приносят
people in
блага. В
general.
действительности,
Actually, they
такими
act
людьми
out of
движет
pride,
гордость,
false ego,
ложный
lust, and
эгоизм,
attachment for
вожделение
material
и
enjoyment.
привязанность к
By such
материальному
activities, not
удовольствию,
only is the
материальным
combination of
удовольствиям.
material elements of which the
Такое
body is constructed
самоистязание не только причиняет вред
disturbed,
телу,
but also the Supreme
состоящему из
Personality
материальных
of Godhead
элементов,
Himself
но и
living
доставляет
without the body,
беспокойство находящейся в нем верховной личности
within the
Бога.
body. Such
Политические голодовки,
unauthorized fasting or
безусловно,
austerities for some
причиняют много
political and
беспокойства
are certainly very
окружающим.
disturbing
В
to
ведах
others.
ничего не
They are
говорится о
not mentioned in the
таких
Vedic literature.
методах.
A demoniac
Люди
person may
с
think that
демоническим
he can
складом ума
force his
думают,
enemy
что
or other parties to
подобными
comply
методами
with
они
his desire
вынудят
by his
противника
method.
уступить
But
их
sometimes
требованиям.
one
Но порой
dies
такие
by such
голодовки
fasting.
заканчиваются
These acts are
смертельным
not
исходом.
approved by the
Господь не
Supreme
одобряет
Personality of Godhead. And he
подобные
says
действия и
that those
называет
who
тех,
engage
кто
in them
прибегает к
in
таким
them
методам,
are
демонами.
demons. Such
Действуя таким
demonstrations
образом,
are
они
insults for
оскорбляют
Supreme Personality of Godhead
верховную
because
личность
they
Бога,
are
ибо нарушают
enacted in
указания ведических
disobedience
писаний.
to the Vedic
Людей,
scriptural
действующих таким образом,
injunctions. The
нельзя
word
назвать
achetasaha is
вполне
significant
нормальными.
in this
В связи
connection.
с этим особого
Persons
внимания заслуживает слово
normal mental
«ачетасаха».
condition must
Здравомыслящие
obey the
люди должны следовать
scriptural
предписаниям
injunctions.
вед,
Those
но
who
люди
are
не
not
вполне
in such a
здравомыслящие
position
пренебрегают
neglect and
ими
disobey the
и сами
scriptures
придумывают для
and
себя
manufacture
обеты
their
и
own way
покаяния.
of austerities
Необходимо
and
всегда
penances.
помнить
One should
об
always
участи
remember the
людей
ultimate
с
end of the
демоническим
demoniac
складом ума,
people and described
описанной
in the
в
previous
предыдущей главе.
chapter. The
Господь
Lord
помещает
forces them
их
to
в
take birth
утробы
in the wombs of
демонических
demoniac
женщин.
persons.
В результате они жизнь
Consequently,
за
they will
жизнью
live by
вынуждены
demoniac
оставаться
principles life
демонами,
after life without
лишенными
knowing their
знания
relationship with the
о своих
Supreme
отношениях с
Personality
верховной
of Godhead.
личностью Бога.
If, however, such
Однако, если
persons are
таким
fortunate
людям
enough to be
посчастливится
guided
встретить
by a
на
spiritual
своем пути
master who
духовного
can
учителя,
direct them to
который,
the path of Vedic wisdom,
поведет их
they can
дорогой
get out of this
ведической мудрости, они
entanglement
смогут
and
избавиться от
ultimately
своих
achieve
заблуждений
the
и в
supreme
конце концов
goal.
достичь высшей цели. Текст 7.
Verse number 7. Aharastvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priya yagyastapastadhanam tesham bhedam imam shrinu. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In terms of different situations in the modes of material nature, there are differences in the manner of eating and performing sacrifices, austerities, and charities. They are not all conducted on the same level. Those who can understand analytically what kind of performances are in what modes of material nature are actually wise. Those who consider all kinds of sacrifice or food or charity to be the same cannot discriminate, and they are foolish. They are missionary workers who advocate that one can do whatever he likes and attain perfection. But these foolish guides are not acting according to the direction of the scripture. They are manufacturing ways and misleading the people in general.
Они придумывают собственные пути духовного развития и вводят в заблуждение простых людей.
Text number 8. Ayusatva balarogya sukha priti vivardhana rasya sinidha sthira hridya ahara satvika priya. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Verse number 9. Katvam la lavanatyushna tikshna ruksha vidahina ahara rajasa syeshta dukkana shokamaya pradaha. Shoka, miseries. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Verse number 10. Yadhaya mamam gatarasam puti paryushitam cha yat uchishtam apikcha medhyam bhojanam tamasa priyam. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The purpose of food is to increase the duration of life, purify the mind, and aid bodily strength. This is its only purpose. In the past, great authorities selected those foods that best aid health and increase life's duration, such as milk products, sugar, rice, wheat, fruits, and vegetables. These foods are very dear to those in the mode of goodness. Some other foods, such as baked corn and molasses, while not very palatable in themselves, can be made pleasant when mixed with milk or other foods. They are then in the mode of goodness. All these foods are pure by nature. They are quite distinct from untouchable things like meat or liquor. Fatty foods is mentioned in the 8th verse, have no connection with animal fat obtained by slaughter. Animal fat is available in the form of milk, which is the most wonderful of all foods. milk, butter, cheese, and similar products give animal fat in a form of which rules out any need for the killing of innocent creatures. It is only through brute mentality that this killing goes on. The civilized method of obtaining needed fat is by milk. Slaughter is the way of subhumans. Protein is amply available through split peas, dal, whole wheat, etc. Foods in the mode of passion, which are bitter, too salty, or too hot, or overly mixed with red pepper, cause misery by reducing the mucus in the stomach, leading to disease. Foods in the mode of ignorance or darkness are essentially those that are not fresh. Any food cooked more than 3 hours before it is eaten, except prasadam, food offered to the Lord, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Because they are decomposing, such foods give a bad odor, which often attracts people in this mode but repulses those in the mode of goodness.
Разлагаясь, такая пища начинает издавать неприятный запах, который привлекает людей в гуне невежества, но вызывает
Remnants of
отвращение у людей
food may be
благостных.
eaten only when they are part of a meal that was first offered to the Supreme Lord, at first eaten by saintly persons, especially the spiritual master. Otherwise, the remnants of food are considered to be in the mode of darkness, and they increase infection or disease. Such foodstuffs, although very palatable to persons in the mode of darkness, are neither liked nor even touched by those in the mode of goodness. The best food is the remnants of what is offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavad-Gita, the Supreme Lord, says that He accepts preparations of vegetables, flour, and milk when offered with devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Of course, devotion and love are the chief things which the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts. But it is also mentioned that the prasadam should be prepared in a particular way. Any food prepared by the injunctions of the scripture and offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be taken even if prepared long, long ago, because such food is transcendental. Therefore, to make food an antiseptic, eatable, and palatable for all persons, one should offer food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse number 11. Abhalakan kshibhya yagyo vidhivi dishto yajyate yashtavyam eviti mana samadhaya sa satvikaha. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of Scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The general tendency is to offer sacrifice with some purpose in mind, but here it is stated that sacrifice should be performed without any such desire. It should be done as a matter of duty. Take, for example, the performance of rituals in temples or in churches. Generally, they are performed with the purpose of material benefit, but that is not in the mode of goodness. One should go to a temple or church as a matter of duty, offer respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and offer flowers and eatables without any purpose of obtaining material benefit. Everyone thinks that there is no use in going to the temple just to worship God. But
поклониться Богу
worship
не
for
имеет никакого
economic
смысла.
benefits is not recommended
Однако
in the
Писание
spiritual
не
injunctions.
рекомендует поклоняться Господу
One
для
should
того,
go
чтобы
simply to offer
поправить свое
respect to the
экономическое
deity.
положение.
That
В
will
храм нужно
place one
приходить,
in the mode of
чтобы
goodness.
выразить почтение
It is the
Божеству.
duty of
Это
every
поможет нам
civilized man to
подняться
obey
на
the
уровень благости.
injunctions of the
Долг
scriptures
каждого
and offer
цивилизованного
respect
человека
to the supreme personality of
выполнять
Godhead.
указания священных писаний и выражать почтение
Verse
верховной
number
личности
12.
Бога.
Abhisandhaya
Текст
tu
12.
phalam dambhartam
Абхисандхая ту
apichayvayat
пхалам
yajate
дамбхартам
bharato
апичайваят
shreshta tam yagyam
яджьете
vidhi
бхарата
rajasam.
шрештха там
But the
ягьям
sacrifice
видхи
performed
раджасам.
for some material
Но
benefit or for the
жертвоприношение,
sake of pride
совершаемое
or
ради
chief of the
достижения материальных целей
Bharatas,
или из гордости
you should
и
know to be
по
in the mode
предводителю
of
рода
passion.
Bharati, является
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
жертвоприношением в гуне
Sometimes
страсти.
sacrifices and
Комментарий Шрила
rituals are
Прабхупады.
performed for the elevation
Некоторые
to the
люди
heavenly
совершают
kingdom
жертвоприношения для
or
того,
some
чтобы
material
возвестись на
benefits in
райские
this world.
планеты или
Such
получить материальные
sacrifices or
блага и
ritualistic
преуспеть в этом мире.
performances are considered to
Подобные
be in the mode
обряды
of
и
passion.
жертвоприношения относятся
Verse
к
number
деятельности в гуне
13.
страсти.
Vidhihinam
Текст 13.
stanam
Видхихинама
mantrahinam
сриштанам
adakshinam shraddha
мантрахинам
virahitam
адакшинам
yagyam tamasam parichakshate.
Шрадхавирахитам ягьям
Any
тамасам
sacrifice performed without
паричакшате.
regard for the
Любое
direction of scripture,
жертвоприношение,
without
совершаемое вопреки
distribution of
правилам
prasadam,
священных писаний,
spiritual
без
food,
раздачи
without
просада,
chanting of Vedic
духовной
hymns
пищи,
and
и без декламации ведических
remunerations
гимнов,
of the priests,
без
and without
вознаграждения
faith is considered to be
священнослужителей
in the mode of
и
ignorance.
без веры,
Purport by
считается
Srila Prabhupada.
жертвоприношением в гуне невежества.
Faith in the
Комментарий
mode
Шрила
of
Прабхупады.
darkness or ignorance is actually
Вера в ленных, часть находящаяся
faithlessness.
в гуне тьмы,
Sometimes
по
people
сути
worship
дела,
some
является
demigod just to
безверием.
make money
Иногда
and then
люди
spend money
поклоняются какому-нибудь
for
полубогу
recreation,
только для того,
ignoring the
чтобы
scriptural
разбогатеть, а
injunctions.
затем
Such
тратят эти
ceremonial
деньги на
shows of
развлечения,
religiosity
пренебрегая
are not
указаниями
accepted as
Писаний.
genuine.
Такие показные
They are
обряды и
all in the
ритуалы
mode of
нельзя
darkness.
считать
They
проявлением
produce a
подлинной
demoniac
религиозности.
mentality and do
Все
not
они
benefit human
совершаются в гуне
society.
тьмы, усиливая демонические наклонности и никому не приносят блага.
Verse number 14. Deva Dvija
Текст
Guru
14.
Pragya
Дева
Pujanam
Двиджа
Shaucham
Гуру Прагьям
Arjavam
Пуджанам
Brahmacharyam
Шаучам
Ahimsacha
Арджавам
Shariram Tapa Uchate.
Брахмачарьям Ахимсача
Austerity of the body
Шарирам Тапа
consists in the
Учате.
worship of the Supreme Lord.
Аскезой
The
для тела
Brahmanas, the
является
spiritual
поклонение
master,
Верховному
and
Господу,
the superiors like the
браманам,
father and mother,
духовному учителю
and in
и
cleanliness,
старшим, например,
simplicity,
отцу и матери,
celibacy,
а
in
также
non-violence.
чистота, прямота,
Purport by Srila
целомудрие
Prabhupada.
и ненасилие.
The Supreme
Комментарий Шрилы
Godhead
Прабхупады.
here explains the different
Здесь
kinds of
Верховный Господь
austerity and penance.
начинает описывать
First, he
различные
explains the
виды тапаси,
austerities and
аскезы.
penances
Сначала
practiced
он
by the
говорит об
body.
аскезе для
One should
тела.
offer or learn
Человек
to
должен
offer
выражать
respect to God
или
or
учиться
to the
выражать
demigods,
почтение
the,
Богу
the
и
perfect,
различным
qualified
полубогам,
brahmanas, and the spiritual
настоящим
master, and
идеальным
superiors like
браманам,
father,
духовному
mother,
учителю
or
и
any
старшим,
person who
например,
is
отцу, матери или
conversant
любому, кто
with
обладает
Vedic knowledge.
ведическим знанием.
These should be given
Всех их
proper respect.
следует
One should
почитать.
practice cleansing
Необходимо также
oneself
всегда
externally
заботиться
and
о
internally,
внешней и
and he
внутренней
should learn to
чистоте.
become
Нужно
simple in
также
behavior.
научиться
He should not
прямоте
do
в
anything which
отношениях
is
с
not
людьми.
sanctioned by
Ни в коем
scriptural
случае нельзя
injunctions.
делать того,
He should
что
not indulge
противоречит
in
указаниям
sex
священных
outside
писаний.
of marriage life,
Половые
for sex
отношения допустимы только в браке,
is
ибо
sanctioned
таково
in the
предписание шастр.
scripture only
Это
in
называется
marriage, not
целомудрием.
otherwise. This is called
Все
celibacy.
это
These are
аскеза для
penances and
тела.
austerities as far as the body is
Текст 15.
concerned. Verse number 15.
Анудвега
Anudvegakaram
карам
vakyam
вакьям
satyam
сатьям
priyahitam chayat
прияхитам чает
svadhyaya
чаят
bhyasanam chaiva
свадхьяя
vanmayam tapa uchate.
бхьясанам чайва ванмаям тапа учате.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words
Аскеза
that are
речи
truthful,
состоит в том,
pleasant,
чтобы говорить слова
beneficial,
правдивые,
and not
приятные,
agitating to
направленные
others,
на благо
and
других
also in
и
regularly
не
reciting
вызывающие
Vedic
беспокойств,
literature.
а
Purport
также
by Srila
регулярно
Prabhupada.
изучать ведические
One
писания.
should not speak in such a
Комментарий
way
Шрилы
as to
Прабхупады.
agitate the minds of
Своими
others.
словами
Of
нельзя
course, when
причинять
a teacher
беспокойство
speaks, he
другим.
can speak the truth for the
Разумеется, учитель,
instruction of his
разговаривая с
students,
учениками
but such a
и
teacher should
обучая
not
их,
speak to those
должен
who are
говорить
not
правду,
his students
но
if he will
обращаться,
agitate their
но
minds.
обращаясь к другим, тем, кто не является его учениками, он должен
This
говорить
is penance
так,
as far
чтобы своими
this is
словами
penance as
не
far as
вызывать
taken is
в их
concerned.
умах
Besides that,
беспокойство.
one should
В
not
этом состоит
talk
аскеза речи.
nonsense.
Кроме того,
The process
мы
of
не должны
speaking
говорить о
in
пустяках.
spiritual
Те, кто занимается
circles is
духовной
to say
практикой,
something upheld
говорят
by
лишь
the
то,
scriptures.
что
One should
подкреплено
at once
авторитетом
quote
священных
from
писаний.
scriptural authority to
Чтобы подтвердить
back up
сказанное,
with
нужно
what he
всегда
is saying.
цитировать Писание.
At the
Вместе
same
с
time,
тем,
such
наша
talk
речь
should be very
должна ласкать
pleasurable
слух.
to the ear. By
Используя
such
таким образом
discussions,
свою
one
речь,
may derive the
человек
highest
сам
benefit
получает
and elevate
высшее
human
благо и
society.
возвышает
There is
других.
limitless
В
stock of
нашем
Vedic literature, and
распоряжении
one should
огромное
study this.
количество
This is
ведических
called
произведений,
penance of
и
speech.
их нужно изучать. Все это
Verse number
составляет аскезу для
16.
речи.
Mana prasada
Текст
saumyatvam
16.
maunam
Манах
atma
прасада
vinigraha
саумьятвам
bhava
маунам
samshrutir
матма
ityaetat
виниграха
tapomana
бхавасам
samuchyate.
шудхир итетат
And
тапомана
satisfaction,
самучяте.
simplicity, gravity,
Удовлетворенность,
self-control, and
простота,
purification of one's existence
сдержанность,
are the
самообладание
austerities of the
и
mind.
очищение
Purport by
сознания
Srila
называется
Prabhupada.
аскезой ума.
To make the mind
Комментарий Шрила
austere is
Прабхупады.
to detach
Чтобы сделать ум
it from
аскетичным,
sense
необходимо
gratification. It should
воздерживаться
be so
от
trained
чувственных
that it can
удовольствий.
be always thinking of doing
приучить
good
всегда
for
думать о
others.
том, как
The
сделать
best
добро
training for
другим.
the mind is
Лучший
gravity
способ
in
обуздать
thought.
ум– быть
One should
сдержанным в
not
мыслях.
deviate from
Человек
Krishna
должен всегда
consciousness and
помнить о
must
Кришне
always avoid
и
sense
избегать чувственных
gratification.
удовольствий.
To purify
Очистить
one's
свою
nature is
природу
to become Krishna
значит развить
conscious.
в себе сознание
Satisfaction of the
Кришны.
mind can be obtained
Обрести
only by
удовлетворенность можно
taking the
только
mind
тогда,
away from thoughts
когда
of
мы
sense enjoyment.
отучим свой
The more we
ум
think of
думать
sense
о
enjoyment, the more
чувственных
mind
наслаждениях.
becomes
Чем
dissatisfied.
больше мы о них думаем,
In the
тем
present
менее
age, we
удовлетворен наш
unnecessarily
ум.
engage the mind in
В
so
наше
many
время
different
люди
ways
без
for
всякой
sense gratification,
необходимости
and so there is
постоянно
no
возбуждают
possibility
свой
of the
ум
mind's
мыслями о всевозможных
becoming
наслаждениях,
satisfied.
тем самым
The
лишая
best
его
course is
возможности
to
обрести
divert the
удовлетворение.
mind from the Vedic
Самое лучшее
literature
– занять
to
ум
the Vedic
изучением
literature, which
ведических
is full of
писаний,
satisfying
в которых есть
stories as
множество
the
интересных и
Puranas and
увлекательных
Mahabharata.
историй.
One can
Особенно это
take
касается
advantage
Пуран и
of this
Махабхараты.
knowledge and thus become
Знание,
purified. The mind
содержащееся
should
в
be
них,
devoid
очистит
of
наш ум
duplicity,
от материальной
and one
скверны.
should think
Кроме
of
того,
the welfare
необходимо
of all.
отучить ум от
Silence
лицемерия
means
и научиться
that
заботиться о
one is
людях.
always thinking of
Хранить молчание
self-realization. The
значит всегда
person in
думать о
Krishna
природе
consciousness
духа. В
observes
этом смысле
perfect
человек в
silence
сознании
in this
Кришны
sense.
всегда хранит
Control of the mind
молчание.
means detaching the
Обуздать
mind
ум
from sense
значит
enjoyment.
оторвать его от
One should
мыслей
be
о чувственных
straightforward in
удовольствиях.
his dealing
Нужно быть
and
прямодушным
thereby
в
purify
отношении
his
с людьми.
existence.
И тогда
All these
наше
qualities
сознание
together
очистится.
constitute
Все это
austerity in
вместе
mental
взятое
activities.
составляет аскезу для ума.
Verse number 17.
Текст
Shraddhaya
17.
paraya taptam tapastatri
Шадхая
vidham narai
парая таптам
abhalakankshi
тапастатри
bhir
видхам
yukta
нарахи Абхала
yuktai
Камши
satvikam
Бхир
parichakshate.
Юктайх Сатвикам
This
Паричакшате.
threefold austerity
Эти
performed
три
with
вида
transcendental
аскезы,
faith by man,
совершаемые
are not
человеком, который
expecting
обладает
material benefits
трансцендентной
but
верой,
engaged
не
only for the
стремится к
sake of the
материальным
Supreme,
благам и
is called
действует ради
austerity in
удовлетворения
goodness.
Всевышнего, называют тапаси
Verse
ум
number
благости.
18.
Текст
Satkaramana
18.
purujartham tapodam bhena
Саткарамана
chaivayat
пужартхам
kriyate tad
таподам
iha
бхена
proktam
чайваят
tarajasam chalam
Крияте тадиха
adhruvam.
проктам раджасам чалам адхрувам.
Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining
Аскеза,
respect,
совершаемая из
honor, and
гордости,
worship,
ради
is
того,
said to
чтобы
be in the
заслужить
mode of
почет,
passion. It
уважение
is
и
neither
стать для
stable nor
окружающих объектом
permanent.
поклонения, является тапаси в гуне страсти. Такая аскеза не может
Purport
быть
by Srila Prabhupada.
постоянной и длиться долго.
Sometimes penance and
Комментарий Шрила
austerity
Прабхупады.
are executed to attract
Иногда
people
аскезу
and
совершают
receive
для
honor,
того,
respect,
чтобы
and worship
привлечь к
from
себе
others.
внимание людей,
person in the mode of passion arranged to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer riches. But arrangements artificially made by the performance of penances are considered to be in the mode of passion. The results are temporary. They can be continued for some time, but they are not permanent.
Но рано или поздно этому приходит конец.
So I think we will finish this chapter. We have a few verses left, 10 I think. But I think we are out of time. Anyway, we will continue just to have only one chapter left, to remain some unity, because now we're going to read about some definitions of God. Verse number 19. Mudha grahenat manoyat pidaya kriyate tapaha parasyo tsadanartam va tattamasam udahritam. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu, who performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To undergo penances for something which is impossible is certainly in the mode of ignorance. Verse number 20. Dattavyamiti yadanam diyatenu pakarine teshe kale cha patre cha tad danam asatvikam smritam. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at place of pilgrimage and at lunar or solar eclipses, or at the end of the month, or to a qualified Brahmana or a Vaishnava devotee, or in temples. Such charities should be given without any consideration of return. Charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion, but if a poor man is not worth giving charity to, then there is no spiritual advancement. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended in the Vedic literature. Verse number 21. Yatu pratyau pakaratham phalam udishyava puna dhyate cha pariklishtam taddanam parajasam smritam. But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with the desire for fruitive results, or in grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Charity is sometimes performed for elevation to the heavenly kingdom, and sometimes with great trouble and with repentance afterwards. Why have I spent so much in this way? Charity is also sometimes given under some obligation at the request of a superior. These kinds of charity are said to be given in the mode of passion. There are many charitable foundations which offer their gifts to institutions where sense gratification goes on. Such charities are not recommended in the Vedic scripture. Only charity in the mode of goodness is recommended.
Ведические писания не рекомендуют совершать подобные пожертвования. Они призывают людей
Verse
заниматься
number
исключительно
22.
благотворительностью в гуне
Adesha
благости.
kali
Текст
yadanam
22.
apatribhyascha diyate
Яданам
asatkritam avagyatam
апатрибьяща дияте
tatamasam udahritam.
асаткритам авагьятам
And charity
таттамасам удахритам.
performed at an impure place,
А
at an
пожертвование,
improper time,
совершаемое
to
в
unworthy
нечистом месте,
persons, or
в
without
неурочное
proper
время,
attention and
недостойному
respect, is
человеку
said to
или
be in
без
the mode of
должного внимания
ignorance.
и
Purport
уважения,
by Srila
считается
Prabhupada.
пожертвованием в гуне невежества.
Contributions for
Комментарий Шрила
indulgence
Прабхупады.
in intoxication
Этот стих
and
осуждает
gambling are not
пожертвования, которые
encouraged
будут
here.
использованы
That sort of
на приобретение
contribution is in the mode
одурманивающих
of
средств
ignorance.
и на
Such
азартные
charity is
игры.
not beneficial.
Такого рода
Rather,
пожертвования
sinful persons
относятся
are
к гуне
encouraged.
невежества.
Similarly,
Они
if
никому
a
не
person
приносят
gives
блага, а
charity to
только
a suitable
поощряют
person,
падших
but
людей
without
дальше совершать
respect
грехи.
and without attention,
Точно так же,
that
если
sort
мы
of charity
даем
is
пожертвование
also said to
достойному
be in the
человеку,
mode of
но при этом не
darkness.
проявляем к нему должного уважения и внимания, наше
Verse number
пожертвование тоже относится к
23.
гуне
Om
невежества.
Tat Sad iti nirdesho
Текст 23.
Brahmanas
Ом
trividha
татсат
smritaha
ити нирдешо
Brahmanastena vedascha
Брахманастри видхасмритаха
Yagyascha vihita
Брахманастена
pura.
ведасча
From the
Ягьяшча
beginning of creation,
вихитах
the
пура.
three words Om Tat Sat were
С начала
used to
творения
indicate the
три
supreme
слова
absolute
Ом
truth.
татсат
These
использовались
three
для
symbolic
обозначения высшей
representations
абсолютной
were
истины.
used by
Эти три
Brahmanas
слова
while chanting the hymns
символа
of the Vedas
произносили
and
браманы,
during
когда
sacrifices for the
исполняли ведические
satisfaction of the
гимны и
Supreme.
совершали
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
жертвоприношения во имя Всевышнего.
It has been
Комментарий
explained that
Шрилы Прабхупады.
penance, sacrifice,
Как уже
charity, and
говорилось,
foods are
аскезу
divided
в
into three
жертвоприношении,
categories: the
пожертвование
modes of
и пищу
goodness,
можно
passion,
разделить
and
на три
ignorance.
категории
But whether
по гунам
first class,
благости,
second
страсти и
class, or
невежества.
third class, they are
Но
all
к какой бы
conditioned,
категории первой,
contaminated by
второй
the
и
material
третьей
modes of
они
nature.
не относились, все
When
они
they are aimed
обусловлены,
at the
осквернены
Supreme
качествами
Om Tat Sat,
материальной
the
природы.
Supreme Personality
Однако,
of
когда их
Godhead,
целью становится
the
Всевышний,
Eternal, they
Ом
become
Тат Сат,
means of spiritual
верховное
elevation.
вещество,
In the
предвечный Господь,
scriptural
они становятся
injunction, such an
средством духовного
objective is
самосовершенствования,
indicated.
как
These
утверждают
three
все
words, Om
священные
Tat Sat,
писания. Эти три
particularly
слова
indicate the absolute
Ом
truth,
Тат Сат
the Supreme
прямо
Personality of
указывают на
Godhead. In the
абсолютную
Vedic
истину,
hymns, the word
верховную личность
Om
Бога.
is always
Любые
found.
ведические
One
гимны
who can act,
содержат слово
who
Ом.
acts without following the
Тот, кто
regulations of the
действует вопреки
scriptures,
указанию
will not
священных
attain the
писаний,
absolute truth.
никогда не
He will
познает
get
абсолютную
some
истину.
temporary results,
Он
but not
получит лишь
the ultimate
временный
end
результат,
of
но
life.
не
The
достигнет
conclusion
высшей
is
цели
that the
жизни.
performance of
Отсюда
charity,
следует, что
sacrifice, and
наши
penance must
пожертвования,
be done in the mode
жертвоприношения
of
и
goodness.
аскеза
Performed in
должны
the mode of
относиться к
passion
гуне
or ignorance,
благости.
they are
Влияние
certainly
страсти и
inferior in
невежества
quality.
сильно
The three
понижает их
words Om Tat
ценность.
Sat are
Три слова
uttered
Ом Тат
in
Сат
conjunction with the
связаны со
holy name
святым
of the
именем
Supreme Lord.
Верховного Господа.
Example Om Tat
Ом
Vishnu.
Тат Вишного.
Whenever a Vedic
Когда мы
hymn or the
декламируем
holy
ведические
name of the
гимны
Supreme Lord
или
is uttered,
произносим
Om is
святое имя
added.
Господа, всегда нужно
This is
добавлять
the
Ом.
indication of Vedic literature. These three words
Так
are taken
предписывают
from Vedic hymns.
Веды.
Om
Эти три
iti
слова
at
взяты из
etad
ведических мантр.
brahmano
Ом
nedishtam
ити
nama
тат
Rigveda
брамано
indicates the first
надиштам
goal.
нама
Them
Ригведа.
tat tvam
Указывает на
asi
первую цель.
chandogya
Тат
Upanishad
твам аси Чандокья
indicates the
Упанишад
second goal,
6.8.7
and Sad Eva
обозначает вторую,
Saumya
а Сад
Chandogya
Эва
Upanishad
Саумьям
6.2.1 indicates
Саумья
the third goal.
Чандокья Упанишад
Combined,
6.2.1
they
определяет третью
become
цель.
Om Tat Sat. Formerly,
Соединяясь вместе,
when
они
Brahma, the
образуют
first
Ом
created
Тат Сат.
living entity,
На
performed
заре творения,
sacrifices, he
когда Брахма,
indicated by
первое
these
живое
three
существо,
words by the
совершал
Supreme
аскезу,
Personality of
он
Godhead.
произносил эти три
Therefore,
слова,
the same
имея в виду
principle
верховную
has
личность
always
Бога.
been followed by disciplic
Соответственно, того же
succession.
принципа придерживаются все
So this
последователи
hymn
Брамы,
has
всякой
great
ученической преемственности.
significance.
Таким образом,
Bhagavad-Gita
эта
recommends,
мантра имеет
therefore,
очень глубокий
that
смысл.
any work
Поэтому
done should be
Бхагавад-гита
done for
утверждает,
Om Tat
что
Sat
всякая
or for the
деятельность
Supreme
должна быть
Personality of
направлена на
Godhead.
удовлетворение
When
Ом
one
Тат Сат,
performs penance, charity,
верховной
and
личности
sacrifice
Бога.
with
Тот,
these three
кто,
words,
совершая
he
аскезу,
is
занимаясь
acting in Krishna
благотворительной деятельностью,
consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities which enables one to return home back to Godhead. There is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way. Verse number 24. Tasmad om ityad udhadritya yagyadanatapa kriya pravartante vidhanokta satatam brahma vidinam. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with the scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Rigveda 122:20. The lotus feet of Vishnu are the supreme devotional platform. The performance of everything on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead assures the perfection of all activity. Verse number 25. Tad ityana bhisandhaya palam yagya tapakriya dana kriyascha vidvidha kriyante moksha kankshibhi. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To be elevated to the spiritual position, one should not act for any material gain. Acts should be performed for the ultimate gain of being transferred to the spiritual kingdom, back to home, back to Godhead. Verses 26-27. Sadbhave sadhu bhave cha sad itiyate tat prayujate prashaste karmani tatha sajchabdha partha yujyate yagye tapasi danecha sthiti sad iti chochate karma chaiva tat arthyam sad iti evabhidhyate. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and the charity which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please Supreme Person or Son of Pritha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The words prashaste karmani, or prescribed duties, indicate that there are many activities prescribed in the Vedic literature, which are purificatory process beginning from the time of conception up to the end of one's life. Such purificatory processes are adopted for the ultimate liberation of the living entity. In all such activities, it is recommended that one vibrate Om Tat Sat. The words Sad Bhave and Sadhu Bhave indicate the transcendental situation. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called Sattva, and one who is fully conscious of the activities of Krishna consciousness is called a sadhu. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called sattva, and one who is fully conscious of the activities of Krishna consciousness is called sadhu. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25, it is said that the transcendental subject matter becomes clear and in the association of the devotees. The words used are satam prasangat. Without good association, one cannot achieve transcendental knowledge. When initiating a person over, or offering the sacred thread, one vibrates the words Om Tat Sat. Similarly, in all kinds of performance of yagya, the object is the supreme, Om Tat Sat. The word Tad Ardhiyam further means offering service to anything which represents the Supreme, including such service as cooking and helping in the Lord's temple, or any other kind of work for broadcasting the glories of the Lord. These supreme words Om Tat Sat are thus used in many ways to perform all activities and make everything complete. Verse number 28. Ashradhaya bhutam datam tapastat taptam kritam chayat asad ityuchyate partha nachatat pretyano iha. Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme or Son of Pritha is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Anything done without the transcendental objective, whether it be sacrifice, charity, or penance, is useless. Therefore, in this verse it is declared that such activities are abominable. Everything should be done for the Supreme in Krishna consciousness. Without such faith and without the proper guidance, there can never be any fruit. In all the Vedic scriptures, faith in the Supreme is advised. In the pursuit of all Vedic injunctions, the ultimate goal is the understanding of Krishna. No one can obtain success without following this principle. Therefore, the best course is to work from the very beginning Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. That is the way to make everything successful. In the conditional state, people are attracted to worshipping demigods, ghosts, or yakshas like Kuvera. The mode of goodness is better than modes of passion and ignorance, but one who takes directly to Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all three modes of material nature. Although there is a process of gradual elevation, if one by the association of pure devotees takes directly to Krishna consciousness, that is the best way, and that is recommended in this chapter. To achieve success in this way, one must first find the proper spiritual master and receive training under his direction. Then one can achieve faith in the Supreme. When that faith matures in course of time, it is called love of God. This love is the ultimate goal of the living entities. One should therefore take to Krishna consciousness directly. That is the message of the 17th chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 17th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita in the matter of the divisions of faith. So such a very good and a wise program that we had in studies of these two chapters. Different kinds of faith, godly and demoniac natures. This is a very good remembering for us, this part of knowledge. I mean, this part of discussion that Krishna gave to Arjuna, and we should be expert in this subject as well. It may seem not very important, but actually it is the case. We have the last chapter left. It is called the Perfection of Renunciation. Thank you everybody for this morning program. I wish everybody good health.